Electrical cords and cables are one of those things we cannot get away from, but it doesn't mean you have to stare at them. Today I'm going to share amazing tips and tricks on ways to hide them and a bonus DIY on how to make the perfect concealment box. Let's go. Hello, welcome back to The Crafty Organizer. I'm Noreen Eppley, and on this channel, I love bringing you ideas for organizing, decluttering, doing DIYs, upcycles, and anything crafty on a budget. A few weeks ago, I did some amazing upcycle things, and we've done most of the projects except for the cable cord concealment and those amazing book holders, which I can't seem to find a book that'll work for this because I don't want to ruin a good book. I'm hoping for outdated encyclopedias. So if you live near me in Southern California and you have an old set of encyclopedias you don't want anymore, please reach out to me because I have been looking everywhere and I just don't want to ruin good books. A simple wicker basket on a shelf can conceal any type of power cords that you have. It allows ventilation and allows the cords to go in and out. But you could always do this inside of a drawer. But you could easily create your own by just creating holes for the cables to come out of and a slot for the power cord to go into. You can put a lid on it and set it aside. Now, I've got inside information here because my husband is an electrician and he was the one that told me that it is perfectly safe to put power strips inside of a box or a container. It's actually safer because dust isn't getting in them and there's no chance for water to spill on them. So, if you have a power strip that's hot, that's actually a concern on its own, regardless of where you're putting it. So you're probably going to want to replace it with a new one. You should not have heat coming off any of the things that are plugged in. So if you have that issue, take care of it first, but otherwise it is totally safe to put your power strips inside of a box, allow for a little ventilation. This works perfectly if you've got a lot of phone chargers or things you're constantly plugging in and out. On my desk over on the side here, because there's only two plugs in this room, one right in front of me and one behind me. So the hider that I'm making is for my bottom shelf. But over here I'm going to be working on something because I hate seeing the power strip out. But it's my workspace, so I'm always needing to plug in my camera, different lights, my glue gun, my heat gun, whatever I'm working on. Having that plug right there accessible is great, but boy, is it ugly. So I'm going to make myself one of these boxes so that I can have a lid on it when I'm not using it, but when I need to get access, I can flip the lid open, plug in, and unplug what I need. Now, wire baskets are great if you've got a desk that has a power strip. You can hang it under your desk or inside of a cabinet with just a couple of cup hooks. Now, you've seen me use these grids before. I love this idea of attaching it with some command strips to the back of a TV or cabinet, and this gives you a grid system to hang all of those plugs in. Now, they also sell convenient things that you can buy. These are boxes made especially for the power strips, and this conceals everything on the inside. But what about the longer cables? I love the idea of concealing them with these little covers. This looks like molding. It's adhesive and just has a little groove where it slides open and you can pop them in. I did see these on Amazon inexpensively, so I made sure to add those into my store, and the link to that is in my description below. The last one I want to talk about is, once again, having easy access to those cables. This is something I do with my own cables. I use those little binder clips and attach it to the side of my desk, and I feed the cable through. This means they are not falling behind the desk or behind your bed or behind your nightstand. You can easily pull them out and even have them labeled right on the binder clip. But let's get into the main thing that you're here for, and that is the power strip DIY. This really is a super easy project. I got a remnant piece of wood from Home Depot at no cost. I'm going to cut it into two pieces, but I'm going to cut off the end because it wasn't square. So there'll be a front piece and a bottom piece. And I sized this for my own bookcase. So the depth for me is 10 inches because the front is going to go to the end of it. And you'll see what I'm talking about when I do the DIY. So it was 11 inches for the front and 10 inches for the base. After cutting them, I went ahead and sanded it down a little, and the bottom and front is just so you know what I'm doing. I don't need this on mine, but I wanted you to know which piece was going where as I'm working on it. I do not want the front and bottom showing. Again, I was doing this for you. A tip, because cull lumber sometimes has writing on it, use a little alcohol and you can rub most of it off. And by the time you paint it or stain it, you won't see it anyway. I did sand it a little bit and do a second dose of the alcohol just to get it all up. And honestly, when I go to stain it, you won't even notice. I'm using the Varathane wood stain in ebony. I love this color, and I'm just going to go ahead and apply it. You use whatever technique you want. I have put on gloves in the past. I've actually found it's easier for me to just take a little brush and put it where I want it, and I wipe off the excess. I'm going to do this for all of the visible sides. I'm not worried about the inside, so I'll be doing the front and all of the 4 sides. Now this one piece has grain that's a lot lighter in the middle, so I'm going to put extra stain to just try and give it a little bit more wood grain. I'll wipe it off and I'll keep doing this until it has the look that I like. That's one of the great things about stain, is you can really use it in a way that's creative and make it look the way you want. I am going to give a very light coat of clear crystal spray from Rust-Oleum just to seal this up and allow it to be a little bit shinier. Now for handles, I am always salvaging handles from different things. These are the handles that I have on my magazine boxes. I think I'm going to go with a simple glass knob on here. To attach this, I'm going to get a drill bit that matches the inside hole. And I'm just going to place this around the middle of the top section. I'm going to use, now that I've measured it out, the guide of where the knob is, but not go all the way through, and then move it to the side so I can finish drilling. This comes with the hardware. It'll be a little bit longer on the inside, but again, I'm not worried about that because I'm just using it to put a power strip in. Now for that little center part, the silver is fine, but I wanted to get it a little bit fancier. So I'm pulling out my jar of smalls and I'm looking for small things that I can place in the middle. I've done rhinestones before, but I wanted this to be a little bit more rustic and antique-y looking. So I have these little copper brads, and I think I like that one. But I also had these different color metallic ones. So there's the blue, but I didn't like that it had a hole in it. I thought that looked kind of weird. But there's this one or the copper one. So I'm not sure which ones you like better, but I think I'm going to go for the copper. Now to attach it, all I'm going to do is use my Crop-A-Dile and flatten it, and then I'm going to just glue it right on there. The Crop-A-Diles are a great tool. This is usually used to attach the brad directly to a material like paper or cardboard. In this instance, because there was nothing under it, it did concave the top, which was a bummer. So instead, I'm going to take my wire clippers and just cut off the section that would go through the paper. That way it doesn't have that concave. It'll be domed like I wanted it to. To attach that little flattened brad, I put the smallest amount of hot glue and I just press it into place. Because the inside does have some leftover metal from cutting off the extended part, it has plenty to grab onto with the hot glue, and I love the look of this. To me, this looks like the old copper pins that would have gone through this handle. So I love the rustic, vintage, antique-y look on it. Now to attach the front to the base, I'm going to be using my brad nailer, but you don't have to use power tools. Honestly, the Gorilla brand wood glue is so strong. I used it and it alone when I made all of my wedding boxes, and they are still holding just fine. If you are not putting a lot of weight in these, the wood glue will honestly work. But if you're worried about it, you can drill a small hole and put a small nail or screw through it. But I'm going to show you how I use my brad nailer. For safety reasons, I always preload my brad nails in first, and once they're loaded, then I add the battery. This is just an extra step for safety. I'm going to align the front of this to the base because I don't want the bottom showing, so I want to make sure that the face is longer And this is why I did the base at only 10 inches, because once I add in the front, it makes the full 11 inches, and that fits perfectly on my shelf. This brad nailer is the easiest thing. It is one trigger pull, and it puts in a pin nail that you can't even see. So I love this. All I have to do is release the little safety on here, and with one little trigger, I can just go ahead and put it inside. You see, there isn't even any kickback on it. You cannot see the nails, and it is super strong. I'm so excited to have this nailer. So this came from my parents for Christmas. So if you're watching, Mom and Dad, thank you. Now I have this to pull in and out, and here it is on my shelf. Now, I can't do anything about that little white box because that's where my LED lights are that light up my whole bookcase. But you can see my whole power strip is now hidden behind this box. So you don't see that anymore, and it's protecting it more from dust and things that go by. Now you could design this to fit anything you wanted. If you wanted to cover your router boxes, or if you had other larger components that have electronics in it, you could make the face wide and shallow if you were putting it on a little shelf. You could make it deeper. You could put sides on it if you want. That's what I really like about projects like this, is it's just the idea of what you can do, and then you can customize it to fit your own needs. And that includes painting it, decoupaging it, covering it with wallpaper, craft paper, whatever you want. I am leaning more and more towards the rustic farmhouse look lately, but I don't think I'll ever get rid of my blue. I just love them so much. So let me know what you think about this project. And I don't know if you see, but I made these cute little, I made these cute little plant stakes with my laser. The laser is coming out next week. You guys, I'm having so much fun. I cannot wait to share that with you. And I've been really trying to do as many different materials as I can so that you know the ups, the downs, the goods, the bads. So please make sure you've hit subscribe so you know about that machine when I do the video next week on Wednesday. In the meantime, thank you so much for stopping by and saying hello today. Be sure to leave a hello in the comments. If you have any questions, be sure to ask them. And as always, thank you to my patrons who allow me to make these videos. And I will see you guys in just a few days. Bye.